Okay, moving on, we've covered some interesting areas of, training is very important, retention, like is very important. But there are lots of young F&B professionals in here, and there's always this, I'm sure, this dilemma between should I stay in my current organization or should I turn entrepreneur and set up a new concept. There's so many people who've set up very successful concepts. So I'll start with AD, who's been doing all of it for 25 years. And your advice to young people as to what's the right path?
Everybody wants to get into this business, and unfortunately, most of them are going to lose their life savings or their family money. So normally, I always start out with a word of caution, which is don't get into this business, don't become an entrepreneur, at least not right off. Having said that, if you are very keen and it is something you love, which I think is what defines all of us, enter prudently. Much better, for example, depending on the financial situation, etc., either work with a company that's established and understand the business, B, take a franchise of a QSR which will teach you everything, which will run it, you'll start to understand the business. Don't enter cold. It's a very hard business to start off as an entrepreneur with.
Sure. Arjun?
I have a contrarian view to AD, and I'm happy to articulate that. In the sense that I think there is no more exciting a time to be an entrepreneur for this industry. Why I say that is that I think the customer is very disenchanted by the hotel industry. And I say that even though I'm a hotelier, I have 2 hotels, is very disenchanted because I don't think the hotel industry has innovated. The hotel industry still is living in the 70s, 80s at the most, and runs the Indian hotel industry as the way the international hotel industry is run. And I think there is a paradigm shift happening with the Indian customer. I think it's far easier being an entrepreneur today. Of course, I fully respect what AD says, that be prudent, have the necessary experience. But I think this is the time to step out of the comfort zone. We've heard chefs like Gagan speak, he was kicked out of a hotel chain 10 years back. Look what a story. And I probably admit that not every story will turn out to be like that. So there will be challenges, there'll be hiccups. But I think this is probably the most exciting time with social media supporting you, with plethora of money supporting you. You need a proof of concept, certainly. So obviously don't start by having a business plan that opens 10 restaurants. Do a first great restaurant or a first great concept. And I think India is on the cusp of that revolution, where, as Zorawar said, we are 24 times the size of the Bollywood industry. And I would encourage entrepreneurs to step out of their comfort zone, young people to step out of their comfort zone and walk that talk, but prudently.
Sure. Zorawar, as your thoughts?
I have a mixed view on this, okay, and the mixed is simply for personal, selfish reasons. The more we promote young entrepreneurs to come, the more competition we'll have. No, but I'm joking. Honestly, I think it's a very interesting time, as Arjun and AD have said. It's a very interesting time for the industry at large. Just to put a few numbers, and that's the MBA in me talking, so forgive me for this. But about $110 million worth of funding came into India in restaurants in the past few months alone. That's a lot of money. The sector is growing amazing. Arjun said that a large chunk of his revenue, or at least the revenue of his retailers, comes from the F&B industry. So it's huge. I think generally, I believe in one thing. If you want to make a business out of anything, it could be F&B, it could be, you want to be an actor, anything. Figure out something that you would do for free, and then figure out a way to make money from it. Because unless there is passion involved, the longevity is not going to be there. It's not a very glamorous job, and the ultimate rock star restaurateur is sitting here on the stage. And ask him, he's been in for 25 years, he's built some of the best concepts, and it looks like a lot of pomp and glow, and his page is on page 3. His face is on page 3 every second day, but honestly, there's a lot that goes behind it. There's a lot of numbers, there's a lot of projects work. I'm currently fitting out 9 restaurants, and trust me, sitting in a site with all kind of mud and dealing with contractors is not fun. So, and my wife's sitting in the audience, and she's luckily been helping me a lot with some of my projects, and that's a big help, so thank you very much. And honestly, if you want to get into the restaurant business, get in for the right reasons. It's a low-hanging fruit. Anybody with 2-3 crores of money wants to open a restaurant. but you got to figure out that you got to actually make it run after opening. You have to figure out, your working capital requirements and all that good stuff, which is not that easy. So figure out something that you're passionate about, and if you really think that that is the avenue that you want to pursue, then by all means go ahead and pursue it. But make sure that you remember that it's not a 9 to 5 kind of thing. It's a lifestyle. It's not a job. It's a lifestyle.
Just
please.
a couple of things. You did mention a lot of money that's come into the market very recently, and Arjun was sitting right there. About 10 years ago, the same thing was happening in real estate and malls. Okay, lots of things got built, lots of things got shut. The reason why Select is what it is today is because they were very clear on what they wanted to do, the mix they wanted to have, how they wanted to build it. I look at this, it says, don't eat out, they're getting 50% off at 300 great restaurants. That's what all that money is going to do, unless it's a good proof of concept, unless you are building it for the right reasons and not burning VC's money, is the reason to be in the business. And I think all of us, as we go about and you walk a restaurant mile, every restaurant has an offer outside. There's a beer bucket on, there's a meal on, there's a lunch buffet on for $200. I mean, it's good that the industry is opening up, but it should open up for the right reasons. And as entrepreneurs and as business people, we should be very clear about what we stand for.
Yeah, on a separate note, I'm now, after being in the industry 25 years and running various companies, I am now a consultant. I have turned down and sent lots of people back to their jobs when they've come to me with ideas because I felt it's not sustainable. So yeah, I think you've got to be prudent, make sure that you take, if you're starting something, you take help, get advice, and make sure you have adequate resources and you have something unique. Because while it is a lot of fun and can be financially very rewarding, it is also very difficult. It's not an easy industry at all. So, Iri, you wanted to add a point about?
There are also in this audience a lot of F&B professionals. I know over the last 15, 20 years of looking at the cycles, they have at various times been tempted by retail when it became big, getting into the new startups now, etc., etc. They wonder whether they're in the right career, what's the path, what are the opportunities. It's interesting for me, I feel that F&B is increasingly playing a vital part across more and more sectors. One of my ex-boys who's sitting here, Anirban, is with hotels, and I think a part of his success has been that whichever group he's joined, he's really built up the F&B side of that business. So it's made him a very successful hotelier. I know the Marriott in Bombay, when it opened, a very large part of its success was they got a German GM, Bart or something, Buring, who really worked hard on the F&B of that hotel. And I think that really helped that hotel be successful, while at that time that hotel in Land's End was a failure. Then there are great F&B opportunities in hospitals. The role of F&B in malls is becoming clearer and clearer. So I do believe that you're in a good industry, that there are many career paths for you today. I think that we as entrepreneurs, as owners, value you more and more. So don't give up on it.
No, let me just add here. Eddie, there's I think the little disconnect I have with the panel is that, when I say be entrepreneurial, it doesn't mean go out and open a 3 crore restaurant. Look at this brand called Asian House, delivering from home. There's no capital sitting behind that business. They've got great food, they've got great chefs. I personally love to order from them. And I think it just shows that whole technology, the disruption that this technology is bringing today in the world is allowing you to do things that you could never have thought of, 5 years or even 10 years before. So I'm saying that it's not just about being an entrepreneur doesn't mean that we spend a lot of money. I think there's a lot of creativity out there. People are looking for value. People are looking for new ways. You have, I see sometimes what Rocky is doing on some of the stuff with chefs coming home. So there's so much out there, which I think is interesting for young people. And I think the country needs that little revolution. And yes, it's competition to establish brands, but then keep all of you on your toes, all of us on our toes. I should say you, all of us on our toes. And I think it's power to the customer. Even if it's 200 rupees buffet, and if that's what you need to sell, then that's what you need to sell.
So I would like a couple of questions. So please quickly introduce yourself and either address the question to any of the panelists.
Thank you. My name is Reva Singh. I hear so much talk about F&B, but hardly anything about the B in the F&B. Don't you think wine and other alcoholic beverages have a part to play? And don't you think they offer a good career option?
Yes, I very much do. And in fact, I think in some ways the opportunity is more because it's still unexploited. I know us as a fairly large group now, one of our biggest opportunities areas is improving ourselves across the various aspects of beverage. So I think there's great scope there.
Okay, there was another question.
Good evening. Hi, my name is Deepika, and my query pertains more to the training aspect of food and beverage professionals, barring the Oberoi, OCLD, or the IHMs of the world, because at the rate at which the industry is growing, like Mr. Kalra rightly pointed out, there aren't enough institutions for younger students to explore an opportunity which will make their parents feel proud that, okay, my son or daughter has graduated from XYZ school, not necessarily the OCLDs or the IHMs, but because there is this growing need, how do you train? Because really, if you look at it, when you go to a 5-star hotel, restaurant, and you go to a standalone, what really differentiates the product from the rest of the experience is the service. And often when we go to a standalone restaurant, I'm not talking about the top 5, 10, you don't really experience the same level of service which you would perhaps experience in a 5-star ambience. So I really think, if you could throw some light on the aspect of, education of these budding professionals.
Zorawar?
So, I didn't get your name, sorry, but...
Deepika.
You just gave the best entrepreneurial idea right there. Opening a school of culinary arts or training and stuff like that. So actually it's a fabulous business opportunity, but I'm going to answer your question, which is about the training. So I completely agree. And Sumeet said that part of the experience that he or anybody else is able to give at our restaurants is through the training that we give to our staff. So what we do internally, what we do at our company at least, is we have a 3-month pre-opening program. So everybody that opens a restaurant has to join us 3 months before. They do the induction for the first month, and the second and third month are usually on-the-job training. But you're right, there is a big gap. I wish there were more schools like the OCLD, because I think, in my opinion, the Oberoi does a phenomenal job of service. And recently, by a couple of websites or magazines, they were rated as the top hotel company in the world, which is a matter of pride, I think, for all of us, that they can do that. But besides that, I think something like the OCLD or what some of the hotels are able to do, we are definitely instituting one such small little institute within our company, which is going to be a training setup, which is going to be based out of our head office. And but I think if they were bigger, more organized, for example, if OCLD were to allow us to use their services, I'd do that in a second. Honestly, I would love to get my people trained by the OCLD, but they don't do that because that's their competitive advantage. So I think a big business opportunity, training is essential to the overall experience, and we at our company are going to take it very, very seriously, and very good point.
Okay, last questions.
Hi, this is Chef DK. Well, I've been hearing about the raw material and HR, of course. I have two things to ask the panelist. One is that when you compare the international brand vis-a-vis in India vis-a-vis abroad, don't you think there is a difference in taste, quality, and consistency? That's number one. What's the reason? On the other hand, if I compare, that's my second question. Why some of the Indian brands have died their death in a very short time? Is it the wrong concept? Are they very impassioned? They want to grow in no time. They want to compete with McDonald's in a span of 2 years. Is it the wrong concept, or it's the inconsistency or poor infrastructure? What do you have to say that?
Sumeet, you want to answer
Yeah,
about
actually-
international brands?
Actually, the first one is a much easier one. Is very simply put, a lot of people do take shortcuts. If I can see you. And when they want to launch the international brand in India, they don't do proper research. As the gentleman from Jamie's was talking about, or I was talking about our own experience. The taste is all dependent on the ingredients that go in. So if you do proper research, if you find the best sources available within the country, I think there's no issue in matching. So one of the biggest feedback we used to get earlier at Nando's was the size of a bird. You know, the birds we serve in the UK and everywhere else are big, massive birds. And when we started initially, the birds we were serving were very small. But with proper research, with proper investment in the supply chain, we were able to get there. So it's a hit and a miss, but if you really, really work hard at the back end before you jump into opening the restaurant, it serves you long term much better. So it's all possible. I'm very, very clear in terms of the quality that we deliver versus what the international Nando's would deliver, for that matter, any chain. We need to work a bit hard before we actually go ahead and just open a restaurant.
I want to add a little bit to your second question.
I would
think you're,
attribute a lot towards the consistency, you see. I don't want to name a brand. I had a burger the other day. So I told him, I said, it's not the same burger I ate in US. He says, well, we have problem with raw material. You know, this is what we get. What do you have to say that?
So that's the first one is a loaded question, so I'm going to avoid that. I'm going to go to the second one, which is to do with Indian brands. And Chef DK, you're a stalwart of the industry, so thank you for making it what it is today. But I have a contrarian view to what you said. I think Indian homegrown brands are not just competing, but they're actually hitting the ball out of the park. They're actually outperforming almost all international brands. I think if you look at any mall, if you look at any foodscape, the Cyber Hub, Select City Walk, any of the top malls, any of the top food destinations, or even retail destinations, where there's a foreign company and there's an Indian company, in terms of sales, customer feedback, in most other cases, Indian companies are performing very, very well. Now, I know my friend runs one of my favorite, I love Nando's. It's one of my favorite concepts. But I think if you really look at it from a perspective of the Indian diaspora and the Indian dynamic, Indian chains are performing well, in fact, outpacing the foreign ones in every way. And most important criteria is perhaps sales and customer feedback, right?
Okay, great. Sorry, sir, I will have to take that offline. I have been told
Sorry, I
time's up.
just want to say that the only brand in the country I admire and endorse is Haldiram.
Sure.
Right?
Okay.
You have rasmalai at 10 o'clock in the morning, and you have same rasmalai at 10 o'clock in the night. You will find the same taste. You have it the same here or 50 kilometers away.
Sure.
That's the kind of consistency in the
Sure. Well, with that, I'd like to bring our discussion to an end. Thank you, Zorawar, Arjun, Edi, Sumeet, thank you. Thank you for your time.